Hey guys, this is Corey from the Android Central Forums. I wanted to demonstrate some of the differences between the TouchWiz launcher on the Fascinate to Launcher Pro, which is a replacement launcher that I like a lot better. So let's take a look at first take a look at TouchWiz. So this is sort of I've removed all the widgets off the home screen. We'll take a look at those in a minute. But to open up the app drawer, you have this row of icons at the bottom, and this looks very familiar to me. I don't know if it's familiar to you or not, but to me this looks a lot like the iPhone. That's the last thing I want my phone to look like. So if I wanted an iPhone, I would have bought one. Um, but anyway, if you want to launch, if you want to look at all your applications, you click on the applications icon, and then you kind of scroll from right to left as you go through. You can see a bunch of applications here, and a lot of them you may not want to see. Like VZ Navigator is one. Um, there's a lot of bloatware. I've removed some of it so you can't see it, but there's a lot of bloatware in here that you may not want to have on the phone. So My Verizon is another one. So lots of stuff here. I mean, this is a really fast phone, so it still looks good. There's not a lot of lag there or anything, but this just is not. I just don't like it that much, and you can't you can't change these icons. Now, the one thing that this launcher does have is some unique widgets, unique to Samsung anyway. And you may like some of these. And the problem with switching to a different launcher is that a lot of these will not be available, at least the Samsung ones. So like Buddies Now, for example, is one that you won't have any longer. You won't have access. Anything that's in the Samsung list right now will not be there with a replacement launcher. So another one, feeds and updates. So your friends, as you can see, I don't have any. Poor me. No, I have some. Verizon Wireless is a friend of mine. But I have all my friends listed here, and you can scroll through. I kind of like this one here, and it's not available in Launcher Pro. Although there is a widget that the developer for Launcher Pro has created that's actually just as good. Um, and that's just for Twitter today. He's coming out with another one for Facebook as well. Um, so if you want to replace this, which is one of the first things that I did want to do, you can go to the market and you can you can download one called ADW Launcher. There's a bunch of different ones that you can choose from. My favorite, again, is Launcher Pro. If you have two launchers on your phone, there's a program called Home Switcher that you can use to switch between the different ones. And you can also set the default launcher. So I'm going to pick that. Typically, you're not going to have multiple launchers that you're going to be choosing from all the time. But if you're demonstrating this like I am, in this case, you would. So I'm going to set my default to Launcher Pro, and I'm going to launch it. Okay, and so um, this is my launcher for Launcher Pro. And it has its own icons at the bottom, but the nice thing is these can be customized, which is something you can't do with the Samsung widgets. Or with the TouchFlow, whatever the heck they're called. TouchWiz, TouchFlow, whatever they're called. But you can customize these. So for example, I have this icon here, this messaging icon. It launches my HandSent SMS app instead of the messaging app. And then I have this one here, launches my calendar. Okay, so lots of good things in there. And this last one here, this browser, launches the Dolphin browser that I use instead of the built-in browser. There's lots of settings. So if I click on this button here and go to Preferences, there's lots of things that you can do within Launcher Pro. One of the first things a lot of people want to do is go to General Settings, click on Hidden Apps, and it'll bring up a list of applications on the device. And you can go in and you can hide the ones that you don't want to see in your app drawer. So for example, the 3G mobile hotspot, I have that hidden, ad-free, is an app that I use, but it's not one that I launch. It just works in the background, so I don't need an icon on my app drawer. Amazon MP3, and you can go through and you can hide all the bloatware that you want. And then there's some apps that install keys, license keys. So Touchdown is one of them. Find it here. So there we go, Touchdown. It installs a license key, and there's an icon in your app drawer to go along with that. That's probably not something that you want to see either, so you can hide that. So really cool. Save it, and you'll go back here when you're done. And if you open up your app drawer, you'll notice all of those different icons are missing. Okay, so very cool functionality. When you noticed when I opened up the app drawer, it was instant. Okay, and when I scroll, everything is really fast. So that's a really nice benefit of Launcher Pro. Now, you can go in and you can change the effects of when you open the app drawer, you can change the effects of what that looks like. So if you click here and then go to Preferences, and then go to Advanced Settings, there's actually some settings in here that controls how fast the speed is. So you can go in here and you can, I think by default, the scrolling speed in the across the different home screens is set to 50. You can adjust that down or up. I have mine set to 100 because I want it to go really fast. But let's set it to 50, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. There is another one for how fast the opening speed is for the App Store. So by default it's 5, and I'll show you what the effect of that is here in a second. I have all mine turned up all the way up because I want it to be really fast. And then there's one for screen previews. There's an HTC Sense type of preview screen here. When you double click on the home icon, it brings up all your different home screens in a card deck kind of style, and you can choose which one you want to open. So I'm going to turn that down as well so you can see what that does. And then finally, there's another one here for, if I can find it, home screens. Here we go, elastic scrolling. So we'll take a look at what that does as well. So it changes when you're flicking from home screen to home screen. It changes the speed or the look of that to a sort of a rubber band style. So I'm going to click on Home. Okay, and you're going to see the effects that some of these settings had. So when I click the launcher drawer, for example, see how the icons come in from the outside and center in the middle. So I actually don't really like that very much, so that's why I had the speed turned all the way up, so it was really fast. But this is, some eye candy, and some people are going to like that. Others won't. Another thing that I changed was the speed in which this goes. So some people might want that to go a little slower instead of really fast, but I had mine turned all the way up because that's the way I like it. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to double click on the home icon. Oh, so first of all, one customization that I've done is you can have up to 7 home screens. I actually just have 1 because I don't like a bunch of stuff on my home screens. But you can change that. So you can go into Preferences, go to Home Screen Settings, and you can change the number of screens to, let's say, 3. Okay, and say yes, it's going to restart it. And now I have 3 home screens. Okay, so now I can go in and I can add widgets. So I'll just go in and add some simple widget here. Let's do Audible large. Okay, so I have an Audible widget now, and if I scroll from this home screen to the other one, you'll see there's sort of an elastic effect. That was that setting that I turned on earlier. I actually don't really like that very much. I just want this to be super fast. So I'm going to go back in, I'm going to turn that off, and that was in advanced. And I'm going to turn off elastic scrolling. I'm also going to change the speed in which the screens, how fast it goes from left to right, or right to left. So now when I go from screen to screen, it's super fast. Okay, there's no rubber band effect. and it's just really smooth, really slick. All right. So the last thing I'm going to demonstrate is the cards. So you'll see that there's the cards as well. So if I, oops, I'll come back up here. So if I double click on the home screen icon, it brings up all my different home screens, and I can choose which one I want to go to. So when I double clicked it, it sort of zoomed them in from the side. There was a speed setting for that as well. You can turn that on or off, or make that not on or off, but make it faster or slower. So I have mine turned all the way up, but you can do it however you want to do it, obviously. So that's the advantage of Launcher Pro, is you can customize it how you want it to look. The last thing I'm going to talk about are the Launcher Pro widgets. So if you pay the guy, what, $2-3, really good developer, and he's constantly updating both the Pro and the Pro Plus versions. But if you buy the Plus version, you get a bunch of different widgets. There's People, Bookmarks, Calendar, Messaging, and Twitter. So real quickly, if we go into People, you have different options for how your favorites are displayed. So you can use this sort of grid style. You can use this strip. And then depending on which one you select and which contacts you want to see, I'm not going to do it, but it'll display that form in your screen. The next one that we're going to look at is bookmarks. So you can see all your bookmarks in a grid. You can also see them in a strip, or you can see them in a list style. So it's pretty cool as well. If these look familiar, it's because HTC has some very similar ones. There's a calendar widget as well. There's a small and a large one, and then even a smaller one yet. We'll pick the large one, and you can see here all your different events from your different calendars, and you can view it in different ways, and you can also add events from here as well. So very nice. And then of course you can just drag and drop them to the trash if you don't want them. So let's look at another one here, messaging. So messaging is cool. It brings up your text messages. You can open them up directly from here and then respond to them. So pretty nice, and there's some different ways you can view them. So there's kind of a list format. So very cool. And then the last one here is Twitter. So I don't use Twitter, believe it or not. I might be the only one in the world that doesn't, but I don't use it. He's adding a Facebook one too, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. It's going to be cool. But basically, and then there's a bunch of themes that you can add as well. So changing the colors and icons and all that stuff. Down at the bottom, you can customize the icons in the tray or in the dock. So I can click one of these plus symbols, and then I can select an application or a shortcut, or I can do whatever I want from here, which is kind of cool as well. So for quick access to certain applications that you use all the time. Let's see, anything else? So if you go in here to preferences, there's lots of different things that you can do. I'm just covering a few of them. There's things, depending on what you want the home key to do, you can change that. You can change the appearance of certain things. You can even hide this notification bar if you want. You can hide icon labels underneath of the applications that are on your home screen. So you can disable wallpaper scrolling, so as you go left to right across your different home screens, if you don't want that scrolling effect, you can turn that off. So just go in here and try it out. It's a great application, but that's my opinion, right? So you may have another one that you like more. I suggest trying them out, and maybe in the end you'll decide you like the stock TouchWiz better. It's all up to you. All right, thanks for watching.